Hey, what's up? Derek Kirk of Effectatron, and today I've got a quick and easy one for you. It's one that's probably been done or seen before. I've definitely covered it in my Mind in Motion workshop and other classes, but it's a very simple effect, but it's actually one of my favorites as well. So we're just going to talk about how to create these cool glowy edge lines on stuff, and also just how to mix some materials together really quickly and efficiently to get some cool looking effects. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's start fresh. We just have some lights in our scene from our default setup scene. Nothing too fancy, normal 3-point light setup. All right, so we're going to go down here to models inside of our asset browser, and we're going to scroll down, and inside of here is Kitbash. Now this is different than like Kitbash Cargo, Kitbash. These are just little tiny shapes and stuff, because kit bashing is like taking a bunch of tiny shapes and things and mashing them together to create cool looking stuff. It's kind of like hard surface modeling in a way, but you get all these little gadgets and bolts and these little things that look like when your anime character's real angry, right? But basically we have like cool treads and hexagons, squares, triangles. Let's go ahead and grab triangle A, bring that in, and let's get triangle B and drag that in as well. We can go ahead and close that for now. And let's go ahead, and if you ever can't find what you're looking for in here, just hit S, and that will move your camera or viewport to wherever you have selected to make sure that fits in there. So that helps find that stuff sometimes. So let's pull this up and rotate it around this way, and instantly you can hold shift to rotate it by 5-degree increments. And instantly we have like a Decepticon here, right? Let's refresh. Probably won't be able to see our materials here because they're not Redshift materials. So let's go ahead and just create a new material by double clicking in the material field here, and just go ahead and drag and drop that on there. We can delete these. Bye-bye. Okay, cool. So now we have this going. So what I want to do, I'm annoyed that they don't line up right off the bat, right? But we're just going to slide this up like so, and then hit T and scale it down so it fits inside, because I want it to fit inside of here. Like so. All right, so then we're going to grab that. And we're just going to look back here. We're going to grab the y-axis, and we're just going to pull just that one. When that one's highlighted, that's going to add some thickness to this, just because I think this little thing needs a little thickness. Now, there's nothing special about this. I think it has nice edges, which is important for what we're going to showcase here. And also, it's just kind of a cool kind of retro style thing. Like, for whatever reason, whenever you do like a triangle upside down, I feel like it always looks like a bad guy's logo, right? I don't know. I feel like Decepticons were like that, like Cobra Kai. I don't know. Maybe I just watched too many cartoons. But it just looks like a bad guy's logo, right? Anyway, okay. So let's go ahead and talk about easy ways to do this. So there's a couple ways to do this, and there's a couple weird bugs right now with it that can be fixed. So what we're going to use is called the material layer. And the material layer is exactly the same as the material blender, except it only has 2 inputs, a base and a layer, and the material blender has like up to 7, I think. So you can use whatever you want, but the layer is the simplified version of it. So let's go ahead and open up this material, and we're just going to delete this out. So rather than creating a material that has both material properties in there and then combining them inside of here, we're just going to make one material that will be able to click and select whatever materials we want to mix those together for us. So that way we can hot swap it and change it out very easily. And then we'll build our materials separately so things don't get convoluted and clunky and everything like that. So first off, what we're going to do is hit C, and we're going to type in layer. That's going to open up the material layer, bring that in. The second thing we're going to do is type in ref, and this is going to give us a reference node. We need 2 of those. And then we're going to type in curvature. Now, curvature is a very common one. We can do curvature. We can do round corners. Both of those are really good for getting edges of things. So we can mess with those as well. And then I like to have a ramp, because a ramp really just helps you control the curvature aspect. So when we isolate the curvature node on here with this little S, you can see where it's going to be applied. Everywhere that's white is being affected by that curvature. Everywhere that's black is not. So we have this like nice, clean, like alpha matte of what is being applied, and that's exactly what we want to use this for, is an alpha map. So everywhere that we're going to have this white material, we're going to apply material B, and everywhere that's black, we're going to apply material A. And that's kind of how the material layer is going to work. This is going to work as a mask for these two layers, these two materials. And it's that simple. So basically what we can do is we can take this curvature and we're going to use it as convex. You can switch it to concave and that'll do more of the insides. So if you want to do something like add dirt and grime inside of something, you could definitely do that by adding like a dirt texture or something or material. Using this to add that in there, pretty cool little effect, or ambient occlusion, whatever you want, or a darker color, whatever. You get it. It's just literally a way to mix things. But we're going to go ahead and go with convex. Okay, and this is going to give us these edges. Now, when it comes to the size and radius of this, it really depends on the size of your model and stuff. This kit bash piece is small, so we're going to say like 0.1, and you're going to see that's going to tighten up everything around those edges. We could try to go even smaller, like 0.05. It's going to really tighten it up, but at some point, it's really based more on the geometry than it is on the actual convex piece. Now, we also want to add in more samples, because if we take this down to like one sample, everything's just going to get kind of blurry, and you kind of lose a little bit of that definition. When you add more samples, it gets crisper and sharper. But there is a point where you start adding more samples and you don't really notice a difference. So I find that 64 is normally a pretty good amount without having to make your computer work harder for no real payoff. And we could try to go even lower, like 0.01, and see where we're at, but see how that looks pretty much the same. So we'll go 0.05 and we'll just let that be. Okay, pretty cool. So the thing I don't love about this is I won't have glowy edges, but I don't want these like weird gray bits in between. So how do I fix that? Well, that's where this ramp comes in that we brought in. So if I take this and plug this into the ramp input, alt input, and then isolate that, it just gives us a very clean visual control of how this is going to work. So if I start sliding this up, it's going to start cutting off that threshold there. And so now we've gotten rid of that gray. Now you also can just switch this to step. And so now wherever you put this, you can just, you don't have that gradient anymore. If you just want it to be clean and sharp, there we go. Step is a really good way to do that. So here we are. Now we have nice thick white lines all the way across. So now we have clean straight lines. What we can do is start to make our materials and then reference to them. Okay. So let's just go ahead and double click in here and we'll create one material. And let's go ahead and just make this one sort of dark, almost black. We'll make it like kind of metallic, a little roughness, a little higher IOR. And we'll just go with that for right now. And then we'll do another one. And instead of this one, we'll go down to emissive controls. And you always want to choose your color, but you want to go like slightly darker than the color you want, because when you like make something emit light, it's just going to be brighter and a lighter version of itself. So if you want to do like a nice light pink, and then when you crank that up, it's going to be pretty much white because it's so bright. So if you want to do a nice light pink, you can go with red and crank it up even more. And then you have like a nice light pink or orange, whatever. So you can play around with that. You want to go a little darker, right? So let's do a cool blue. So we'll do like a teal. And I normally like to say around 10 for the weight. And the reason I do that is at some point you get so far along that it's just blown out and it's just white. So you lose all that color information. But at another point, when it's too low, you get reflections and stuff on your object that are going to be affected by your bloom before the emissive material. So if you want that like cool glow on your emissive material, but not on your reflections, you kind of have to do this balancing act between lighting those things. So I feel like 10 is a really good value for the weight of that. So now that we have both of those materials created, let's grab our material that we have on our object. And all we have to do is go to reference 1, select our base material, which is going to be this black, go to reference 2, select our neon material, and then hook them up. Reference 1 to the media base material. It's weird because it's on the bottom, which you're like, oh, it's the base. But then when you actually plug it into your material layer, it's in the node, the opposite. So it's kind of convoluted. But we're going to go to input layer 1, color for the second one. So you can see like it makes sense here. We've got our base and then our layer 1 color, right? Okay. So if we were to just hook this up and turn off our solo there, you'll see we just get that emissive color. And we're not getting a mix at all. And that's because it's by default set to just be a mask of 1, which is pure white, and it is set to over. So like it's just going to be over top of it. But if we take this ramp, which if you remember is white and black, and plug that into this material blender and go to input, material layer, same thing, into input layers mask. So this is where we want to put this, right here in the mask. Now, when we hook that up, you'll see it's going to swap, and we're only going to get those glowy bits there on the side. So that is really fun and cool. So now we have this cool glowy material. We definitely have some transformer vibes going on. So right now, nothing looks very glowy, and we really want it to be nice and glowy. So we're going to go down here to bloom and turn this on. And as we lower this threshold down, you're going to start to see that emissive material start glowing. Now, obviously, when you get it down too low, you're going to also see those reflections and things we talked about earlier start glowing as well. Now, we definitely don't want that. So that's why I think that value of 10 is nice, because it lets it trigger the emissive material before it hits those reflections. So then we can turn the softness down, which I think we need to just a bit. And we can adjust the amount and intensity of this glow as we like. I also like to come in here and add a little contrast, just a smidge, like so as well. Little S-curve. I think that helps that bloom pop, because it does go hierarchical. So this is going to affect it before the bloom affects it. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. That's how you get that nice, cool glow. So let's just talk about, that's really it. So let's just talk about how the benefits of setting it up this way, right, versus building it all within a layer. So let's say, okay, cool, I like that, but I actually just want to try other combinations real quick. So let's go over to materials, slide this over, and let's go down, and let's say we want to grab something that's included inside of Redshift, and we're going to do like some metal. We'll do like a rough gold. We'll bring that in. And then we want to do something else that's included, like a concrete, right? So we'll do this control panel concrete. Sure. Boom. So, okay, we can just simply control, click, and drag to make a copy of this material. So we don't erase the original, but we can put that on there. And now all we need to do is, instead of these reference nodes, just rebuild them. So we say the first base, I want to be the concrete panel, and the second one we want to be this gold. So now we're going to have this cool concrete panel with gold, and then we didn't have to set anything up. We could just click, drag and drop and click, which is pretty awesome. And obviously you could come in here and swap this to concave and see like if it puts gold in the corners and stuff instead, which might be kind of cool, but probably not near as cool as the other way around. But yeah, so that's a really cool way to set it up. So now you can come in here and set up a cool glass one with some glow on it. So let's do that real quick, because I think, Tron is the best example and one of my favorite stylistically settings we have going on. So let's go ahead and just do that. So control drag, make a copy of it. So we're doing it non-destructively. We can just go ahead and save those materials if you want. Now, if you save these, that's the only downside. If you save these kind of materials like this, it'll save the nodes, but it won't save the link, which I think makes sense. But if you save the materials you're linking to, you can rebuild them. But you can save this as like a template for like, okay, I want to blend and I just want to have something for material layers. All you got to do, open up the asset browser, go to like make a folder if you want, or just put it uncategorized, and you just say this is a blended layer, matte, something like that. Grab that, drag it over, say okay, and there you go. So now you can just bring this in, and whenever you bring that in, it's going to have all this set up for you. So you can just click and drag those reference nodes now. Pretty cool. All right, so on top of that, let's go ahead and go to my materials that I have a material pack coming out very soon, and we are going to use my cool water effect. And we're going to bring that in, and then we're going to go to my... Oh, that's cool. We'll do water. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and put this on here. Double click that. First material we want to be that glass, which is my water. Like so. And then the second one we probably want to still be that, ooh, that's pretty cool though. It's pretty fancy. Gold edges just make things look fancy. And like futuristic, right? Like elite culture. Okay. Grab this one and choose that neon. Now we're going to be more into the Tron Valley again. Oh, baby. There we go. Cool. So let's go ahead and tighten this up even more, 0.01. Tighten it up as much as we can. No, not what I wanted to do. So let's tighten this up as much as we can. So we're going to pull this back and try to get it really thin. Ooh, yeah. Maybe just a smidge more. I want it to be like nice and thin. There we go. Very cool. Okay, so that's a nice blend there. What I can do now is make it evil. So we'll go into that matte, and you know, obviously, if we change that to like red, now we're the enemies. You might need to refresh it, but that's the cool part is it will update automatically. You can make changes to that material that you're using as a reference, and it will update for you. So that is really nice. Okay, so we'll start with that for now. Let's open up our glass and open up the asset browser and go to media and type in imperfections, right, with an IMP. That's going to bring up all of these texture nodes that are included inside of here for you. We're just going to grab one that's got some scratches and scritches on it. SV1 scratches O2. Okay, pull that in, drag that onto the bump, and set the bump to -0.2. That's going to give us these little scratches in our glass. We'll refresh. And it should put those in there. Now you can also add in smudges on your glass, but now we get this kind of cool vibe, and that emissive material is getting reflected and refracted inside of our glass. So we've got this really cool looking, you know, just sci-fi-esque type piece here. And again, you can mess with that threshold. Red is like a slightly darker color than blue, than that cyan blue. So we might need to up the emission even more to maybe something like 20. And it's really just a balancing act of trying to get that color right, balancing down your lights and whatever. So you can see we're getting a little more orange as we do that, but we can bring that in and lower that intensity down. And we get some really cool effects. Let's go ahead and just set this back to like a nice blue, maybe a little cyany, because I like the Tron color a lot. So we're going to bring that back in. There we go. And we can tighten up this blend just a smidge more. Pull this back a tiny bit. See what we get. Yeah. Cool. Okay. And then I want to go into my water material. And I'm just going to come up here to the transmission color and just make it slightly more blue, which is just going to give it a little more of a blue tint. There we go. And we can just render that out. Now, I will say chromatic aberration, which is what I've got going on with this dispersion. That does add a lot to the render time. But this is a really cool Tron material that we can come in here and get that glow going. And I think that is going to look pretty cool. Yes. But yeah, there you go. That is how you can do these really cool, nice edges. Set up a material to, you know, that way you just have one that can just swap around. So if you end up having like a bunch of different glasses or you just want to try things, you totally can. Let's just do one more because I love doing this and I could do this all day. Let's go ahead and grab something from my material pack coming up. Leathers, plastics, rubber, wood, stone. Let's do stone. And we can do a nice rough concrete. And we'll drag that in. And we'll do a concrete instead of a glass. So we'll grab this base material. Reference node. Concrete. There we go. So now we have this cool glowy concrete. And of course we can change this back to some other intense color. Red. And refresh. Cool, right? And of course we could come in here and turn our fill light down a bit. Really let it glow. Pretty cool. But there we go. We've got this nice, cool material set up that allows us to quickly change and adjust things quickly and easily. And then if you want to learn how to take it further and add like a weathering effect and how to use this with color layers and mask and start combining more layers together to give it even more detail, that's a great lesson inside the Mind and Motion workshop. as well as the Ultimate Redshift Masterclass, which I will be selling soon and also be giving away for free with those who buy the Mind and Motion Workshop, which is coming soon. So be sure to go to the link below, DerekKirk.net, and sign up for when that enrollment opens up to be notified, so you can hop in as soon as that Mind and Motion Workshop goes live, which will be at the end of the month. But yeah, pretty cool, very cool effects, satisfying. I love working on it. Thanks guys for watching. Always, I really appreciate it. All the feedback and everything, it's been phenomenal. Exciting stuff coming up. We've got some more stuff with iRender and Kitbash as well coming up. You guys like those environments, and I love creating them. So, pretty fun little quick intro one here. But yeah, it's a very effective and cool. So the same kind of effect can be taken further with more complex mask and alpha layers than just a curvature node. For example, inside the asset browser is this metal painted rust. And if you look at the node, there's a lot going on in here. This is just a controller for all of this stuff. So really what you've got here is you have this, if you follow this back down, you've got everything to create your paint metal here, everything to create your rust here. So basically you've got paint, and then you've got rust in here, and then down here is everything to make that color layer, which is your alpha mask. So if we were to isolate that, you'll see it's just going to be a black and white mask, and that's exactly what this is. It's the exact same setup, except it's just all built inside of one thing. So it'd be like building your metal in one material node, and then building your rust in another, and then just building your mask inside of wherever you want, and using that to drive it. So in the end, it's just a material blender, base color and layer color, and a mask, just like we created. It's just a more complex mask, and that's really it. So it's really, you can expand it out and take it further, and with the setup we've got, you can keep it a little tidier than this, as far as like not being overwhelmed by opening it up. Lastly, you also could come in here, and since it's interpolated with step, you can add like, a different tier in here of color, and then you get kind of a cool sketch and tune type look. Obviously, it's not going to be affected by your lighting or anything, but it's kind of a neat stylized image if you want to just take a look at that. It might be a cool render without, anything. You can just plug this ramp straight into your surface and render that out. Pretty cool. All right, thanks for watching. Again, if you like this stuff, be sure to check out DerekKirk.net. More stuff coming soon. See ya.